Alright, today we're going to be talking about lapping and beagling a mold. This is the mold that I lapped and beagled. We're going to talk about a couple things that I ran into that I heard nobody say anything about on the internet or on castbullets.com. Alright, first of all, beagling, funny name. But it got the name Beagling from the first guy that did it. His nickname was Beagle or something like that. But basically, it's taking and putting aluminum tape, it's a pretty cool idea, in the mold. I've already taken most of the tape off of this. It's already completely off of this side. But I had a strip there, strip here, and a little thin strip down the middle. And that goes on both sides. And that opens the mold up and gives you a few thousandths bigger or fatter bullet. It holds the mold open ever so slightly. It's a great concept. But you use aluminum tape, the stuff that heating and air people use, because that aluminum tape, it's sticky on one side. And I will say this too, you'll have to re-beagle your mold after you've used it so many times. You can make a whole bunch of bullets out of one set of tape, but anyhow, it won't last forever. You'll have to put it back on there, but it's easy enough to do. But the aluminum will withstand the temperature, where other types of tape or whatever will not. Here's a couple problems with doing this though. It will hold your mold open further this away, but guess what? It produces an out of round bullet, because it does nothing for the bullet this away. You know what I'm saying? So it's a little fatter, and I thought, well, by the time I shove it through my die, my sizing die, it's a little bit oblong, and we're talking about just ever so slightly oblong. Maybe it'll mash it and make it fill out further this away. For me, it did not. My bullet still measured 429 across here, and like 433 or so across here. Well, when they came out, let me say that. I pushed them through my die, and then I had 430s and 429s. So it didn't fix that problem. But what will work, it's still not foolproof, is lapping your mold. And that's where you take a bullet, actually several bullets, that you cast out of this mold, and you should keep them separate from cavity to cavity and reuse the bullets for the cavity that they come out of. But you take bullets that come out of that cavity, drill a hole in it, put you a screw down in it, take like a nut driver or something like that, put it in the mold. You'll take valve grinding compound, smear it on the bullet. You get it at the auto parts store. It's used for making valves perfectly seat in a head. It's just really fine grit stuff that will sand just slightly, but it's to make valves seat perfectly up into a head in a car. So it's pretty neat here, because you're talking about aluminum. Those valves are aluminum. So pretty neat idea here. This is called lapping. You'd smear it on there, you'd put it in the cavity, close the cavity, then you take your nut driver and you'd spin this thing. You'd have to experiment with about how many times. I saw on the internet where, like, 20 revolutions equals 1,000th. For me, it didn't. It took a lot more than 20 to equal 1,000th. But anyhow, this bullet will wear out. You won't be able to do it with just one bullet. You'll have to do this. You'll end up using 2 or 3 bullets per cavity to do this. And then, but it does work. It will open your mold up, and it'll open it up all the way around. But here's the deal. As you're spinning this mold, guess what? It's going to be easier for this mold to open up this way, where it will not open this way. So with lapping, as you're spinning this bullet in here, let's say it's not perfectly round, it will force itself to sand this away because of the pressure, where it's easier for the unround part to open it. So you can still end up with an out of round cavity, but it'll get you there a whole lot closer than beagling will, in my experience. But anyhow, you'll do this 2 or 3 bullets per cavity, depending on how much you need to open it up, and then you'll take a fresh bullet that doesn't have valve grinding compound on it, and then put some it's not wax, just polishing compound on there to polish that out, because you've had all that fine grit stuff, you know, doing some very minute sanding in there, and then you'll put polishing compound in there to smooth that out and make it really smooth in there. So both of those methods do work. Neither one of them is perfect, but they do work if you have a mold that's producing bullets that are too small for you. Much better to just buy the right. This is a 429 mold. I knew I needed a 430 bullet. I bought a 429 mold just hoping that it would throw a 430, and a lot of times molds will do that from what I hear. I've got another mold that did. I got a 458 mold that drops 459 bullets, so it works out great. But I don't know, from now on I'll definitely order a mold that's dropping the size bullet that I want, and that way if it does anything, it'll drop them bigger and you can size them down. So I'm going to try not to do any more lapping or beagling, but anyhow, those things do work, but there's a couple of problems there with it that I heard nobody talk about, so I thought I'd bring it up. Anyhow, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.